Tansei, good evening. I'm Krisan Ashkate. Welcome to APTN National News for this Monday. Police and health officials in Saskatchewan are investigating after a First Nations man died after an altercation in a Saskatoon hospital with a security guard. Family and friends say he would never hurt anyone, and the family is looking for answers to his death. APTN's video journalist Rachel May attended the press conference held by the Saskatoon Tribal Council and the family this morning.
All I'm asking for is some answers. Changes. Like, we need to help our people. This can't be happening.
Trevor Dubois' mother, Val, says he went to Saskatoon's Royal University Hospital on Monday, January 5th, for chemotherapy related to a brain tumor he had been diagnosed with about 3 months earlier. Just after 7 a.m. on Friday, January 9th, the family received a call that Trevor had died, but not as a result of his cancer. An altercation had occurred between Dubois and an unnamed hospital security guard. Val says when the family arrived at the hospital after being notified of his death, they left without answers and continue to have been left in the dark about what happened.
Eventually, hours later, they did let me see my boy before they took him away. But I just want answers. How did this happen? We left the hospital 8 p.m. Thursday night. I get a phone call 7 a.m. Friday morning.
In a statement issued from Saskatoon Police about an hour before today's press conference on Trevor's death, police say they received a call regarding his death and immediately began investigating the circumstances, saying further investigation determined hospital security officers entered a patient's room after it was reported a firearm was seen inside. When security attempted to restrain the male, a physical altercation took place. During the interaction, the male became unresponsive and was later pronounced deceased. Police went on to say they located an imitation firearm, methamphetamine, and drug paraphernalia. The family says the only item they can think of that may have been considered an imitation firearm was a bright pink and yellow lighter that also held cigarettes. They say the lighter required the slide to be pulled back to access the cigarettes, and a flame would appear when the trigger was pulled. Trevor's brother Ryan Dubois says the timing of the police release, issued just prior to a news conference meant to discuss Trevor's legacy and seek answers, was an attempt by police to shift the narrative surrounding his death.
This information was released prior to this news conference just to throw us off or to try and take my brother's character away. I want everyone in this room or everyone watching to just know what kind of a person he truly was.
Ryan wants his brother remembered as a kind, loving family member and an advocate for all, driven to learn and grow. The family says during Trevor's 4 days in hospital, they were never told he was acting out or being violent. They recall laughing and joking with him the last time they spoke. Ryan says the family is determined to get answers and wants changes within the health authority so this never happens again.
There's other things that could have been in place. There's other safeguards that could have been set up prior or even now after. Accepting responsibility, saying, hey, maybe the security guard wasn't trained properly. Maybe the situation got out of hand, but we are responsible. We're sorry for it.
The Saskatchewan Health Authority issued a statement shortly after Trevor's death, saying the Saskatchewan Health Authority, SHA, is committed to accountability and to ensure a safe care environment for patients, visitors, and staff. The SHA takes this incident extremely seriously, and we extend our sincere condolences to the patient's family and loved ones. In a statement issued following the press conference, the Saskatchewan Health Authority confirmed the security guard involved in the altercation has been suspended pending the outcome of an incident review and a related labor relations investigation. The SHA says it is unable to provide additional information at this time, but will share updates when appropriate. Rachel May, APTN National News, Saskatoon.
In Woodstock on New Brunswick's west side, an RCMP officer is on trial at the Court of King's Bench. Corporal Andrew Whiteway is charged with assaulting a Mi'kmaq woman in June of 2024. APTN video journalist Angel Moore was in court and brings us the latest.
I'm here outside the Woodstock courthouse. It was an emotional day for Christina Gillis, who was called as the first witness. Gillis testified that on June 13, 2024, at her home near Richmond Corner, New Brunswick, she had called 911 for help because her daughter was in distress and fled to the woods. After police detained her daughter, Gillis testified police were disrespectful, and she confronted Corporal Andrew Whiteway to de-escalate the situation. Gillis testified Whiteway threw her to the ground and allegedly punched her in the face about 6 times and sustained broken facial bones and cracked teeth. Whiteway pleaded not guilty to aggravated assault for allegedly striking Gillis. Whiteway's lawyer, T.J. Burke, cross-examined Gillis and questioned when her injuries occurred. Burke told the court medical records that night showed there were no fractured bones. But when Gillis went for treatment 5 days later and received a CT scan, it revealed facial fractures. The trial continues on Tuesday. Angel Moore, APTN National News, Woodstock, New Brunswick.
Pimicikamak Chief David Monias says that 7 military personnel flew in from Toronto on Sunday and arrived in the community today. The situation in Pimicikamak is being assessed daily after an almost 5-day-long power outage left the community in a state of emergency. Monias says coordination calls have been taking place each morning between Red Cross, Indigenous Services Canada, Manitoba Hydro, and others. Chief Monias says that the Army's engineers and logistics people will do their assessment today of the broken sewage plant in the community. The chief says the first task that the military will assist with is identifying and assessing what needs to be fixed and what resources are needed to repair the water plant. He says a 100-man camp has been set up that will need to expand to 130 in the coming days. Portable washrooms and showers were ordered so that facilities could be used, which will cost at around $100 million, a cost that Monias says would have been preventable with a $5 to $10 million investment in their community before the outage struck. There are currently 4,400 people evacuated, with 1,300 to 1,500 in Thompson, Manitoba, and the rest in Winnipeg. Chief Monias says that community members have been having issues with hotel accommodations in Thompson, with rooms being prioritized to those traveling for hockey tournaments and other events, leaving people without places to stay. Chief Monias says on Wednesday, January 14th, specialists in engineering will be arriving and come up with logistics and project management for the community.
We have some people that are coming from Calgary. We have some people that are coming from Ontario, and right now we have some people that are reaching out from the United States. So somebody actually who has a foundation and they have a portable water plant, a treatment water plant, what they want to bring. Mm-hmm. The only thing we have to pay for is the transportation costs to have it here installed in our community. Even that, we still have to kind of justify why is that we need that, despite the fact that we have water plants that are broken.
Now to another First Nation in the north dealing with a somewhat similar issue. Evacuations were stopped late last week because of weather for some 2,200 people from the Saskatchewan First Nation. But as CTV's Angela Gemmel tells us, the community is working with its partners to help residents.
2026 isn't starting off well for Saskatchewan First Nation. Several infrastructure issues have led the leadership to declare a state of emergency.
People are just tired of not having access to clean water and having the inability to have health care.
On Sunday, the water treatment system failed, causing sewage to back up into homes and contaminate the water supply. That also caused flooding at the community's nursing station. The infrastructure is more than 30 years old and in need of upgrades. It's something they've been trying to address with the federal government.
It's an ongoing issue with these deficiencies. The government keep putting band-aid solutions on this water plant. Like I said, we want permanent solutions.
About 100 vulnerable residents have already been evacuated from the First Nation and flown to Timmins and Kapuskasing. But due to the urgent public safety concerns, leadership has requested a full evacuation of all 2,200 residents.
We don't have any potable drinking water. We're having issues bringing in water to the community because of weather conditions and where our planes are flying from. So we have a whole list of issues, and it kind of necessitated the need for our community to evacuate.
And keep encouraging people to be strong out there. Be safe when they're evacuated.
Indigenous Services Canada says it's working closely with the community. It distributed some bottled water and sent specialized technicians to help repair the equipment. A spokesperson for Indigenous Services Canada says this is an evolving situation and we will continue to respond to all critical needs to support community members and leadership through this evacuation and to get people back home as soon as possible. It's unknown when the community will have a working water system again, and more evacuation flights are being planned in the coming days. Angela Gemmell, CTV News, Sudbury.
And an update to that story, leadership of the Saskatchewan First Nation says it is frustrated by the lack of federal and provincial support regarding the First Nations state of emergency, which has been in place for more than a week now. In a statement posted to social media, Chief Hosea Wesley said, "We are extremely disappointed with the response so far from our federal and provincial treaty partners. No political leaders from Ontario have reached out, and the response we have received so far does not meet the urgency of the situation that is unfolding in our community. I have invited Minister Mandy Golmasti to visit Saskatchewan so she can see firsthand what is happening and grasp the urgency that we are facing to get our members out of these conditions." Minister Golmasti has yet to take the chief up on that offer. Saskatchewan is also requesting that the federal government send in the Canadian Armed Forces to help speed up evacuations and help the most vulnerable to safety. Minister Golmasti did say Indigenous Services Canada is assisting the First Nation with on-the-ground support, including with the help of tradespeople to make repairs to the water treatment plant and nursing station. The minister said the Canadian Rangers are also assisting with coordination and setting up a temporary nursing station. Chief Wesley says the evacuation process needs to move quickly since the nursing station is still not operational due to the flooding of the sewage water in the building. Chief Wesley says if someone gets hurt or has a health condition, there would be nowhere for them to receive care. Another First Nation is taking the Alberta government to court over separation talks. That story after the break. Stay with us. Welcome back. 2 individuals from Listuguj Mi'kmaq Nation are in custody after a large drug bust last Friday. The Listuguj Police Department announced via social media that they seized multiple substances and items. The department says it executed a search warrant under the Controlled Drugs and Substances Act. Officers seized 93.5 grams of crystal methamphetamine, 22 grams of crack cocaine, 29 grams of cocaine, 134 methamphetamine pills, and 12 hydromorphine pills. Police say 2 firearms, 12 cell phones, and cash linked to drug trafficking were also seized. APTN News requested an interview with the police department, but they were unable to speak before our deadline. The department is urging community members with information related to drug activity and criminal conduct to contact their anonymous tip line by calling 506-987-3654 or lpd.tips@listugujpolice.ca. Another First Nation in Alberta has filed court action against the government of Alberta regarding its upcoming separatism vote. The Athabasca Chipewyan First Nation is calling for a judicial review of the Chief Electoral Officer of Alberta regarding an approved petition they say is stirring up separatism talks in the province. The First Nation says the province's petition disregards the country's treaty relationship, does not honor the Crown's obligations, and is moving forward on separatism talks without First Nation engagement or consultation. The First Nation names the electoral officer Gordon McClure, King Charles III, and Mitch Sylvester, the person who is supporting the referendum. It is the second legal challenge issued in a week from a First Nation in Alberta. The suit has yet to be tested in court. One of the rare studies Quebec conducted on the impacts of residential schools marks its 10th anniversary. Our APTN video journalist Stephanie Dusav wanted to see how the funding of this study has translated into reality since 2016.
And what we see is that those who went to residential schools or when their parents went to residential schools, they suffer more.
Researcher Jacinthe Dion co-wrote the study back in 2016. She recently looked back at its findings.
They have more psychological distress, more alcohol or drug abuse, so it's more difficult for them.
She sought to understand the impact of residential schools on 300 First Nations people.
We found that a third of them have suffered from sexual abuse during childhood. A third of them also have suffered from physical abuse, and they are also exposed, to 60% of them were exposed to intimate violence.
In the research done a decade ago, Dion concluded that a holistic approach with treatments that are culturally appropriate and that take into account cultural and Indigenous identity would be most effective. So what's happened since the study was first released? Well, Montreal welcomed the first Indigenous Family Health Clinic in April 2024.
La clinique est née d'un événement malheureux suite au décès de Joyce Echaquan.
Yvick Olek is the Health and Wellness Director at Native Montreal.
Le médecin et l'infirmière vont prendre beaucoup plus de temps avec les personnes afin de vraiment créer un lien thérapeutique. Puis d'acquérir la confiance, parce qu'une des choses qui bloquait l'accessibilité, c'était pas juste une accessibilité physique, c'était la méfiance, la complexité du système.
The clinic also offers treatment by traditional healers, which, according to Yvick, may also be recommended by doctors. The treatment takes place in the Cedar Room, where we find Tili Gassanisax, a Mohawk from Ganawage.
So not everybody wants a smudge.
Tili takes the time to build trust and adapts to the needs of the individual.
I ask, is this something that you would like? And then slowly, bit by bit, the other person will open up, start talking a little bit about themselves, and eventually we'll figure out what it is, what the purpose of this little meeting that we would have together.
She has been working with elder Sidalia Fazio from Ganawage. For 20 years, Fazio taught Tili about culture and traditions. Tili realized the importance of connection and having a safe space to share.
So if people can talk, if people can cry, that's letting it out. That's getting everything that's inside here, that chance to breathe, to be let go and allow that space to breathe.
According to 2024 statistics, 2,500 Indigenous people received treatment in one of the 8 clinics associated with a friendship center in Quebec. Despite the services offered, Dion emphasizes that more efforts are needed to educate non-Indigenous people about the lived experience by Indigenous people.
They should intervene with what we call the cultural safety approach. So they need to take care of who they are, what is their identity, the Indigenous identity, all their culture. They need to take that into consideration. So yes, it's better, but we need to work again more to train all of those people.
I have a wonderful adoption. My mother did the very, very the best for me.
Having been adopted during the 60s scoop, Tilly is part of the Bear Clan. She herself was not connected to her people, but working with the community has brought her closer to her roots.
That was like a storm cloud above my head for many, many years. And it felt to be a troubled place until I realized that Creator knows who I am. And that storm cloud produces water. Water's cleansing, water's healing.
Stéphanie Desèvres, APTN National News, Montreal.
We now want to hear what you think about the exact story you just saw. Here's how to continue the conversation with us. If you have a story you want to share, send us an email to news@aptn.ca. To read and watch our stories, go to aptnnews.ca. You can also find us online on your favorite social media sites, including TikTok, YouTube, LinkedIn, and X. Follow APTN News to join the conversation and see our latest stories. An Indigenous designer from Peguis is getting a chance to show her work on the world stage. That story after the break. Stay with us. Welcome back. Time now for our photo of the day. Fran Etzel in Ross River, Yukon sent in this beautiful photo, but she did not mention it was minus 52 at the time. Brr, that's a cold one. What do you do when it's that cold? Hopefully the holidays warmed up at least a little. Thanks, Fran, for that picture. For the chance to be our next photo of the day, send us your pictures to share at aptn.ca. Time now for tomorrow's weather forecast. In St. John's, it's 0. Charlottetown, +1 and sunny. Cartwright, -9 and sun's out there. Happy Valley Goose Bay, -8. -3 in Saquenet. St. Jovite, 0 and cloudy. Toronto, partly cloudy and 1. Sault Ste. Marie, 0. Sioux Lookout, -1. Thunder Bay, 0. Puckadowagan, +1 and sunny. Thompson, -16. +2 in Winnipeg and partly cloudy. Princess Harbor, +1. +1 in Regina. Saskatoon, +1. Meadow Lake, partly cloudy and 1. La Ronge, +2. Northern Alberta, high level -3. Fort Chipewyan, -9. Calgary, 6. Lethbridge, 9. 11 in Vancouver. Penticton, cloudy and 8. 9 in rain in Prince Rupert. Smithers, cloudy and 4. Old Crow, sun's out there, -35. Rock River, -30. Sunny in Wati at -18. Wrigley, -25. -30 in Fort McPherson. Inuvik, -32. -25 in Baker Lake. Chesterfield, -22. And Arctic Bay, -28. Clyde River, -23 and sun's out. Japan Fashion Week will take place in June of this year, with a designer from the Peguis First Nation set to bring an all-Indigenous showcase for the first time. Alicia Sutherland, owner of Ali's Ribbons, will be bringing the first ever Indigenous showcase to Japan Fashion Week, which will take place in Tokyo this year. The organization is creating a platform for Indigenous artists and began announcing selected models, performers, and designers that will travel from North America to participate. Ali's Ribbons says they sent out 70 acceptance letters for the showcase, with over 500 auditioning to model. With the first Indigenous showcase in Japan, Ali's Ribbons will be making a significant impact in the Indigenous fashion world. Congrats to Alicia and all of her hard work. We're all very proud of you. And that's your evening newscast for this Monday, January 12th. We're back again midday for APTN National News Daytime. Please join us then. Have a good rest of your evening, and thank you so much for watching. Exe.